Wednesday, April 27, 1960. My dear Mel, this has been a real experience sitting on the sidelines, observing the growing pains of the democratic processes taking place in this young republic. One could not help but think that this eventful occasion will be listed among the great fights for freedom made by men. The situation is now one of rejoicing that the fight has been won against the usurpers of power, and the justice that is bound to come is finally being released by the government. In the new elections, I am sure the people will be satisfied, since the police will not dominate them as they did the last time. Love, Dad.
April 29th, Friday. Dear Mom and Dad, I suppose your enthusiasm of watching the struggle for democracy to take place right before your eyes is similar to the dedication I had for the student movement in the struggle for human rights. It was only with great reluctance that I withdrew quietly from the activities. It was your interpretation of my own good that you asked me to stop, and I appreciate the realization that you had good reason to do so. But out of this request, many understandings of a lot of things emerged. A funny thing happened when I came to Morehouse. I realized how very much you loved me and how cruel I had been in not showing my love when I could have so easily. Feelings of guilt became oppressive. My studies quaked under the stress. After flunking chemistry for the second time, I happened upon a course in sociology, a requirement. I found it fascinating. My mind began to blossom in the new soil. All the time, I was becoming more and more involved in extracurricular activities. When I left home, I was no longer Little McCaw, so I could afford to assert myself without fear of people calling me Little McCaw. I had no reason to think that people would be trying to find fault with me and say, "Oh, he'll never be like his dad." When the fall semester began, I noted that there was a great deal of apathy among the students. Then it happened. Almost overnight, we were mobilizing to effect a dramatic demand for human rights. A group of us sat together for 3 weeks, practically every night, writing an appeal for human rights. It was beautiful, but it was only the beginning. Your son had contributed so much to the writing of the appeal that he was later named editor, A Voice for Human Rights, which was to be published every week in the same tone and excellence of the appeal. We had our sit-in, and we were constantly attempting to negotiate with people in authority in business and government. The work was requiring, but I relished it. I was emulating my father. I knew that I would make him proud. I was being a chip off the old block. I was my father's son. Of course there was sacrifice, but what deed is without sacrifice? I spent your money and my academic study time, but the important thing was that for the first time in my life, I felt like Little McCaw.